Hi, this is attorney Joe Flores. As many of you know, I practice criminal law in state and federal court. Today, we're going to take a brief moment to let people know about their rights. I think that it is very important, especially in this day and age, for people to know about their rights. Many people say, well, I'll never be arrested, or this can't happen to me, but you never know. And so we're going to take a brief moment to go over your rights right now. And many people wonder, when are you officially under arrest? You can be under arrest when an officer detains you and restricts your freedom. You can be under arrest and they haven't told you you've been under arrest yet. In fact, any way that an arresting officer deprives you of your freedom can also constitute an arrest. You need to be aware of that. Under Miranda versus the state of Arizona, and this is a Supreme Court case that has been held strong for many, many years now, and you've heard it on TV over and over again. What rights do you have when you're arrested? You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, as they say on TV, and a policeman must read you your Miranda rights. Does he have to read them right then and there when he puts on the handcuffs? No. They can read you your rights or tell you your rights in the squad car, on the way over to the police station, at the police station, before questioning. So anytime during that period of time, you can be apprised of your rights, and your constitutional rights won't be waived or violated in any way. And also, you can stop questioning by a police officer at any time and invoke your right to a lawyer. Now, the important thing to remember is once you've invoked your right, you have to continue invoking your right. Sometimes, and realistically, you're sitting in a jail cell, you may wait hours for a lawyer and he may not come. Now the police, it's fair game for them to come back and say, are you okay? Are you sure you don't want a Coke, a snack, something? And then say, are you sure you don't want to talk to us? Once a lawyer gets involved, it gets very complicated. Police can do that, and they can initiate conversation again. You have to underline and invoke your right to an attorney to be on the safe side. And you have a right to an attorney, even if you can't afford one. And you don't have to answer questions outside the presence of your attorney. We recommend that strongly. If at any time an officer says, oh, you don't need a lawyer, we're just talking here. Alarm bells, okay? Because if anything that touches or concerns a criminal matter or your freedom, it is very advisable for you to get an attorney. What rights do you have after you're arrested? You have the right to talk to your attorney over the phone or in person. You have the right to call your family. You have the right to contact a bondsman. But the police do have the right and the authority to do simple booking procedures before you get to exercise those rights. Can an arresting officer or an investigating officer detain you? Yes, he can. The short answer is that he can detain you, ask questions, and if he has reasonable suspicion, detain you a little bit more. And if he thinks you're carrying weapons or you have drugs or a danger to yourself or others, he can do a pat-down search. Now, subject to that pat-down search, if he finds anything, he can be subject to arrest. You don't have to tell them any information. You don't have to give them your identity. But if you don't, failure to ID can be a crime in Texas. Can a police officer arrest you with or without a warrant? The answer is yes, with a warrant. At any time, a policeman can show you the warrant and arrest you, and you have to get a copy of the warrant or at least see one. With a warrant that is issued by a judge, and you may or may not know there's a warrant for you if you have what's called an indictment from a grand jury. You may not know that you've been indicted. And then they come up to you and say, are you so-and-so? And they say, put your hands behind your back, you're under arrest, we've got a warrant for your arrest. Now, when can they arrest you without a warrant? Well, it's obvious if a policeman has reasonable suspicion that you've committed a felony, or upon reasonable information, which is a legal term, but if somebody says that man just robbed a bank, well, he doesn't need to go out and run and get a warrant to arrest you at that time. How much force can a police officer use when arresting someone? The law says that within reason, A police officer can use as much force as they need to in order to make an arrest. This means that if at all possible, do not resist arrest. Cooperate. Many officers, as you've seen on video and other instances, have had to use restraint, pepper spray, have had to use their weapons at hand, and you have to be very careful when dealing with officers and always try to show as much respect as possible, even if the situation is highly charged. If you are resisting, you can also face separate charges or even charges of assaulting a police officer, which can be very serious. When can the police search your home or office? If they are arresting you, if they come to arrest you, they can look around and they can do what's called a sweep and clear sort of search, where they're seeing if there's any weapons, any accomplices, anybody hiding, or if there's what's called the plain view doctrine. If there is drugs, contraband, or something that is tied in with the arrest, or they have a reasonable suspicion that that has to be involved with the crime and they see it in plain view, they can search it. When you are in your car, the police may do a limited search of your car, but they can't search the trunk without separate probable cause. Without a justified reason, they can't search your trunk. You can refuse for them to do it, but that's where the law gets tricky. Where you have, say, a canine that's alerted to your car, that's a separate reason. If they suspect that there are drugs, contraband, or a large amount of cash, which many of the police dogs who serve our community well are alerted to, they can and will search your car if there is separate probable cause. What procedures are followed after you're arrested? Generally, you are handcuffed, you're escorted in a police car, and you're taken to the nearest jail facility. There at the jail facility, basic information will be taken of you. An inventory of possessions that you have, and a list of those shall be put in an envelope or other container, and then you'll be fingerprinted, you'll be photographed, and also you may be asked questions. At that time, again, you must invoke your right to an attorney if you wish to do so. The whole process can be very intimidating, and it's easier said than done. I've had many clients come and people ask them, well, why did you talk to the police? Well, when your heart's racing 160 miles an hour and you're being handcuffed and put in a car, it's a very different situation than being at your home watching Law and Order and saying, don't forget to call your lawyer. So remember, keep this in mind. If they are trying to instigate any sort of questioning, if they're trying to initiate any sort of questions, you need to invoke your right to counsel. You may also be asked to be in what's called a photo array or photo lineup. You may also be asked to provide blood specimens or DNA, and you may also be asked to say a word or a phrase, and they may try to identify you. Generally speaking, you must be told what you're being arrested for, and reasonably quickly, which is 6 to 12 hours, maybe a day or two, you're taken before a magistrate, generally speaking. Some people have been retained longer, but those are rare instances. Generally here in America, you're taken before a magistrate very quickly, within 24 hours, and told the charges against you. Thanks for staying tuned with Joe Flores. I'm a trial lawyer trying to explain some of the basic procedures and your very important constitutional and fundamental rights in this country. Don't forget, you've got the right to counsel. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to know what you're being charged with. And remember, if you're encountered by police officers, cooperate to the best of your ability. Do not resist. This may cause additional charges. When you are put in jail, remember that they may take your fingerprints, they may take a picture of you, they may make you put yourself in a lineup or say things or give a DNA sample or blood. And don't forget, be careful about the possessions that you have, and a careful inventory should be taken. Make sure you get back what you had, especially money and other sentimental things. If they take those things from you, they should give them back. Don't forget, you have the right to contact an attorney within a reasonable time, but they may ask you to go ahead and get fingerprinted and your photograph taken before all that is done. So make sure that you cooperate, you're polite, but firmly assert your right to an attorney if you're being questioned or Mirandized. And don't forget, it's your right to remain silent. I cannot stress that enough. This is Attorney Joe Flores reminding you of your rights if you are arrested. And if you need any further information, don't forget, you can call our office at any time. 361-887-8670. That's 361-887-8670. Or visit our website, floreslawfirm.com, or visit us on Facebook. That's Facebook.com/floreslawfirm.com. This has been Joe Flores. Thank you, and God bless.